This is a podcast about one woman's mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners write better business books. Each week, we tackle your writing excuses, because there are excuses too, and help you beat the blank page of doom so that you can write the book that'll grow your life and your business. Now here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the 1000 Authors Show. I am Vicky Quinn Fraser and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
Hello. And maybe I should introduce the office poltergeist as well, that turns the gain on my microphone down every time we leave.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every time we get the microphone out, the gain is all the way down.
I mean, it is possible that I am just a ham-fisted clown and I knock it every time I put it back.
Would you knock it in the same direction every time?
I don't know. I'm choosing to believe it's ghosts rather than a rational explanation. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm a little bit brain squeezed because I've been doing C# all day and I ain't no coder. We know this. I'm not a coder. I don't do C#, but yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Have you broken everything?
Oh man, it just hurts my brain.
Why are you doing it?
Because there's nobody else.
Cool.
Yeah.
You should charge them more for that. If you get an expert, it costs you small, and if you get it costs you large.
Maybe.
I mean, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But
oh God, honestly, you just end up with 100 windows open, and coding all of them, and then you press go, and then the demons are released, and the robot goes crazy, and it's just oh my God.
Cool.
Oh.
Okay, cool. So you've been coding badly all day.
Really badly coding all day.
I have been writing all day. I've been planning my launch and all sorts. But Joe, what are you reading at the moment?
I am reading Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia.
Is it good?
It is good, but I keep going to... I mean, it's kind of my bedtime book. So I keep going to bed really late or needing to get up really early. So yeah. I'm not making a lot of progress at the moment, but it is very good.
Cool.
I made a lot of progress over the weekend, and now I seem to have stalled a bit.
Yeah, I was away at the weekend. So I'm looking forward to reading it. Anyway, so Joe's reading Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia, and I am looking forward to reading it. And I am reading my second ever Agatha Christie book, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which is her first Poirot book. Poirot.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm enjoying it. They're very cozy. They're very just, I don't have to think about it. I can just go to bed and read a cozy mystery.
This is it. I mean, I think you suffer from reading serious books and good books and important books.
I suffer from reading good books.
Yeah, you do. You don't just kind of go, I'm going to enjoy this book.
That's good. No, I do. I always set out to enjoy a book. And also that's going in my book of husband transgressions. You suffer from reading good books. Fine. Anyway, but I'm also reading. So I'm reading that and it's good. I've literally just finished An Idler's Manual by Tom Hodgkinson, which is super book. It's a really little book, and it's just I think 27 or something, 29 ways to be idle, and it's things like sit on a park bench and stare at a wall and turn off social media, and some of it's obvious stuff, but then other things like play the ukulele, or alternatively, also approved is the harmonica and the nose flute. Nose flute, man, that sounds really unsanitary. Absolutely not. No. And I'm also reading My Left Foot by Christy Brown.
Okay.
Which apparently is a famous film with Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's a very famous film.
I've never seen it.
Maybe we should.
I think we should, because I had never heard of the book or anything. And my my master's degree tutor suggested that I read it.
Okay.
Because of my final piece for this year. She thought that it might be helpful for me. Because it's about a guy who...
Everybody knows.
Well, maybe they don't.
Everybody knows.
Well, just in case there are people out there like me who do not know, it's a memoir of a guy who was born with cerebral palsy in the 1940s, I think, 1930s or 40s, in very Catholic Ireland, and he was one of 11, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and his mom, oh my gosh, his mom sounds like an amazing, incredible woman.
Like a staunch Irish lady.
Like an Irish mammy who just was like, I am going to fucking fight for my child. And she did. And he was one of 11 and she fought for him and she did not, she didn't let her other kids slide by the wayside either. And I just
didn't slow down. Kept
women,
on pushing.
man. Women.
They're all right.
So yes, I'm reading that, and I'm gonna. I haven't really got into it yet because I haven't really given myself a chance to kind of sit down and read it. So I need to kind of sit down and do it properly. So I'm gonna do that. And just a never-ending giant pile of books that I desperately want to read right now.
Well, that's because you buy every time.
I haven't bought a book for.
Read one book, you buy 6 more.
I haven't bought a book for 2 weeks now.
Blimey.
I'm jonesing a little bit. I gotta say. But yes, anyway, so this week at Casa Dingle, I've just come back from a weekend away in Sunderland, which is the frozen north, where I made the mistake of thinking, oh, that sea looks lovely and inviting, and walking in up to my ankles and then screaming a bit because it was the North Sea.
Which is cold.
And it was minus 50 degrees.
Probably wasn't, but...
Felt like that. Very cold. There were people swimming.
They do that. It's the sea.
There was a big group of people swimming. I'm like, you know what? You lot are awesome. There's no way. This is just. I'd like to be a person who could swim in super cold water, but I don't want to be that much.
I don't think you just are or you aren't. I think it's one of those things you work at.
I know, but I
you
don't.
Work up to.
I don't want to go through the process. This is a person because Yinka, hi Yinka.
Hi Yinka.
Has a cold shower every morning, and I'm just like. I get why. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. It's good for all sorts of things. And she's like, you should try it. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I tried it for like a month and I hated it. It's like I would have my normal shower and, do all the normal shower things. And then I would turn it on to right as low as it could go. I'd last like 5 seconds and I'd be like, I hate it. And I would try and try and try. And I've decided that actually I'm fine with being a person who doesn't do that.
Yeah, it just sounds horrible.
But it's funny because when we go to Pembrokeshire, I will happily swim in the sea, which is the Irish Sea, I guess. And it's not warm by any stretch of, anybody's measure. Well, my measure of warm is not.
It's also not Sunderland.
It's also not the North Sea, yeah. So yes, I've just come back. Anyway, what I was there for was my good buddy Dom. Hi, Dom.
Hi, Dom.
Was running his annual pet business event called Impact, and he gets me to go and speak about the magic of writing books. And I am always delighted to go because he has such an amazing group of people, and it's always fun to hang out with Dom because he's one of my bestest buddies. And it was, and I spend like the hour beforehand thinking I'm going to puke, and then I really enjoy myself.
Cool.
Yeah, and people have said lovely things about my talk, and Dom was like, you should do more public speaking, and I was like, I know I should, but I don't know where or when I'm going to do that. But I do really enjoy it. And the great thing is that I was actually watching people, because at the beginning I was like, who's written a book? Who would like to write a book? Who thinks that maybe they would like to write a book, and who doesn't think they're ever going to write a book? Just asking the questions. And it was just really great to see that by the end of my session, even the people who were like, I'm not going to write a book, had started writing a book. And I'm like, this is one of the magical things about public speaking, because you can see you can see yourself making a difference in people's lives like in real time. And it just made me really happy. So
nice. Yeah. So if anybody listening out there needs a public speaker, Vicky,
I would love to come and speak.
Yeah.
I will absolutely hate it right up until the moment where I go on stage, and then I will have a great time. And I promise that your people will come away having just laughing and really inspired to, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, to do stuff. And yeah, they will get really good stuff out of it. And, I accomplished that in like a 40-minute talk. Imagine what you could accomplish with me if you came and, spent like 90 minutes with me on my book breakthrough jam. Imagine. Yes.
Right. This week at Casa Dingle.
No Mo May.
No Mo May.
Which has followed on from No Mo February, March and April. So
yeah, we're kind of getting a little bit lumpy and meadowy out there.
Oh, but I love it because it's full of daisies and forget-me-nots and whatever the little purple bastards are, and cupcakes, not cupcakes, buttercups.
Hungry?
I am hungry, yeah, really hungry. And never-ending bathrooms.
Never-ending bathrooms. We are building and plumbing and wiring things in, and
I'm trying not to get distracted by building a porch because the bathroom has got hard. And so I'm like, let's build a porch. And Joe's like, absolutely not.
No, let's build a bathroom.
And then we're going to build a porch.
And then we'll build a porch.
Yeah. So yes. Anyway, right, that's what's going on this week at Casa Dingle, and what is going on in this podcast.
Now we are 11 minutes into it.
Is terrible writing advice.
Terrible writing advice.
Oh my gosh, there is a lot of terrible writing advice out there, but I think my favourite piece of terrible writing advice, up there with things like, do as I say, not as I do, which is a fucking stupid thing to say to a child, because children are mimics.
Right.
It's like, don't do something and then tell children not to. It's just like, brr. So yeah. Also, good things come to those who wait. And I've got like a compendium of shitty advice and information that adults give to children. That's one of them. Another one, good things come to those who wait. No, they don't. They come to people who go out and get them, or ask for them, or in some way make the good things come to them.
Yeah, okay.
Do you disagree?
No, but there's also that delayed gratification thing is an early indicator of success.
Well, for neurotypicals, yes. For people with neurodiversities, on behalf of all the people with neurodiversities, I say fuck that.
Give me the one sweet now. I do not want 3 in the future.
Give me the marshmallow. Yes, there is a lot to be said, obviously, for trying to delay gratification. But also, it's just, it's like, the thing is though, the message, I get what they're trying to do, but the message itself is like, good things come to those who wait. It sends a really, it's like,
very passive, isn't it?
It's very passive, and also it feeds into the myth of meritocracy as well. That if you work hard, you will be successful, and it's like all of the evidence in the world shows us that is not true. It shows us that is not true, and that advice stops us from actually trying to break down the structures that make it not true, and that allow the Boris fucking Johnsons of the world to sail through life with no consequences for their behaviour other than being rewarded repeatedly. And it's just like, so I will just leave that there for people to think on. Anyway, when it comes to writing a book, possibly my favourite piece of shitty advice is write when you're inspired.
Right.
What do you think happens when
you wait, you get old,
and you
do
die?
not write a book?
You die of old age with no book published. Because, yeah, it's just not going to happen. And that advice, it won't die either, that advice won't. I keep seeing it all over the place on, like, if you Google how to write a book or how to overcome writer's block or blah, 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 it's like, how do I get this done? All over the place will be, write when you're inspired. Wait for your muse, and like the word muse gives me the rage as well, because it's just, okay, people might find it useful to have like a little character or whatever, but like,
I was imagining naked ladies on chaise longues.
I mean, if that helps you write your book, then
maybe.
I'm not judging, but yeah, it's just not helpful, because okay, so the idea of inspiration arose sometime way back when like ancient people were taking loads of psychedelics and having visions.
Right. And
particularly people like Lord Byron and Percy Shelley can be smacked across the chops for this, because they were just like, I'm just going to like take some opium and possibly mushrooms, and I'm just going to lie here and I'm going to wait for my drink. I'm going to wait for my muse to arrive and instill me with like divine inspiration. And actually, I think it was Shelley. Is it Shelley? One of the romantic poets. I can't remember which one. They'll blend into one for me, and I know that makes me a terrible person. But one of them just never wrote anything for like 30 years. Possibly because he completely fucked up his brain on opium. But also I think because of this idea that, inspiration came from the gods and was bestowed upon us. And that we had to, somehow earn it. Or, it was given to us in some way. And it's just really is nonsense, and it's deeply unhelpful. And I'm not bashing anyone for believing in the divine and the supernatural and all that kind of thing. It's like, you believe in whatever you believe, that's cool, but you need to also understand that that's not where inspiration comes from. It isn't a gift from on high. It isn't stuff sleeting through the universe. And even Terry Pratchett talked about ideas sleeting through the universe and landing in your head, and I get where it comes from. But I also think that it's not very, and how I love Terry Pratchett, but it's also, I don't think, particularly helpful advice for people who are genuinely stuck, because it encourages them to think, why aren't any of these ideas sleeting through the universe into my brain? Why does someone like Terry Pratchett or Neil Gaiman or Bernardine Evaristo, why do they get all of the ideas? And it's like, well, actually they don't. They have structured their lives in such a way that they've made it happen for themselves.
They are putting in the work.
Yeah, they're putting in the
not passively
work.
waiting.
And I get that sometimes it feels like that as well, because I've written stuff in the past, like I write all sorts of stuff and I come back to it months, weeks, or sometimes hours later, and I'm like, I have no memory of writing that at all, like literally no. And people will say to me, oh, I read this thing of yours and I loved it, and I will just smile and nod, and inside my head I'll be like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. So it's like I will write stuff. I know I've written stuff in the past or had ideas, and I've kind of written it. I've been like, wow, where did that come from? Am I a genius of some kind? And it's like, no.
There's a particular neutron just been fired through my brain from space.
Exactly.
And tickled a particular something or other.
Yeah, and it can feel like that. I totally get it. Like, it can feel like that. You must have had an idea, ideas and thoughts before. You're like, where did that come from?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Like when you've solved a problem at work or something, and it's just like...
That comes from standing next to a whiteboard and drawing triangles, usually.
Drawing triangles, that's very specific.
Yeah, you've got to draw triangles.
Cool, so top takeaway from this podcast is...
Draw triangles.
If you have writer's block, get a whiteboard and draw triangles. I mean, try it. But, yeah, so it kind of feels like it comes from nowhere. It feels like it comes from outside of us. And, that's... It doesn't. It's like we're not geniuses. Inspiration comes from what we do. It comes from what we learn. It comes from who we talk to, what we read, what we watch, and then the connections that our brains make between all of that stuff. And quite often those connections happen when we're asleep, or when we're staring into space, or when we're doing something completely different, There's a reason why people complain about having ideas in the shower. It's because when you're in the shower, you tend to be... for a lot of people, I think it tends to be quite a... you're not really thinking about much. It's just like I'm in the shower washing my hair.
Yeah, your focus is not on...
The thing. Yeah. So
it's like sleeping on it, isn't it? You go when you sleep on it.
Yeah.
And your brain does a bit of filing and rearranges a few deck chairs and things whilst you're asleep, and connections are made.
In my brain, there's deck chairs being arranged while the ship is sinking. It's great. So yes, and we make inspiration happen, is what I'm saying. And that's really cool. It's a really cool thing to understand how our brains work. Because instead of kind of sitting there passively and thinking, oh my gosh, where is my inspiration? Why
is this so hard?
Why is this so hard? It's like, will somebody not help me? And, doing whatever it is that you do to ask whatever it is that you ask for the ideas. And it's like, and also that, that kind of meditation and prayer can work because it can empty your mind and allow the connections to be made. But don't misunderstand where it comes from. Because if you don't put the inputs in, it's like you have to have inputs to have an output. And so this is why I'm like, read as much stuff as possible, talk to people, just go and
draw triangles.
Draw triangles. But like the other day, I was crouching outside really early and the sheep were munching around, and I was staring at I think it was a pigeon feather, but there was a drop of water on it, and it magnified everything on the feather, and I just sat there and stared at it for 20 minutes or so until Bronson headbutted me because he's a dickhead. But it was really cool because I was just like, oh my God. And it just got me thinking about entire universes in a drop of water, because there are. There's microscopic creatures in there that have no idea of the world out here. And nematodes and, also, so yeah, just go look at stuff. Go and look at stuff. And if you are sitting there in front of a blank sheet of paper and genuinely nothing is coming, and I'll talk a bit about that in a minute as well, but go outside and look at things, or read a book, or do something. Do something that takes your mind away from what you're trying to force, because forcing it is really hard. So yes. Okay, waiting for inspiration is an excuse, basically.
Does not work.
Does not work. If we want to write a book, we need to sit our asses down and do the work. And I'm sorry, because I know that's not very popular at the moment. And, there's a lot of talk on all over social media and stuff about be kind to yourself. Absolutely be kind to yourself. But make no mistake, if you want to write a book, you've got to sit your butt down and do the work, because it's not going to write itself. And there is no amount of self-care and, candle lighting and blah, blah, blah in the world that is a substitute for actually doing the writing. There's no way of getting around that. It's like I saw my mentor Hillary. Hi Hillary. Had posted on Twitter a little while ago, and it was just like, oh, I want 10k months, but I don't want to market my business or reach out to people or do any media or send emails or write posts or da. How do I do that? And it's like, you don't. So you don't get to have a 10 grand a month business by just sitting and waiting and wanting it to happen. It's called hope marketing.
Does not work.
Does not work. And related to all this, because again, another piece of related terrible writing advice is, you've got to get motivated. Got to get motivated to write. And I hear it's very much a kind of fitness world thing as well. It's like you've got to be motivated to go to the gym. It's like, that is not how it works. It's actually entirely the other way around. It's you have to do it. You have to do the thing, and then you get motivated to do it more. But you've just got to start. And like, how many times have we sat on the sofa and thought, oh my God, we've got to go and do the thing in the bathroom and try and like...
We've got to knock a chunk out of the house or do something horrendous.
Yeah, and we've just sat there and we've like, oh, we'll just have another cup of tea. Oh, we'll just plan a little bit more. We'll just do this. We'll just.
Let's buy an extractor fan.
And then you go upstairs and we start and we're set for 4 hours and it's like, oh, actually, this is fine. We're doing it. We're doing the thing. And I guarantee you, I bet you, all of the things in my pockets, which is currently a used tissue, that if you just sit down and write like 250 words, you will feel motivated to write more. If you sit down and write 10 words, you will feel motivated to write more, because that is how this works.
If you sit down and bullet point what you want to say in this chapter.
Yeah.
You will start writing it. And
one of my favourite tricks, and it just sounds like really super simple because I know people are always after something magical, but it works every time for me. It works pretty much every time for one of my clients who has been in Weird and Wonderful. She's got a very similar brain to me. Just write about not being able to write. Like, I'm supposed to be writing about this thing and I can't fucking do it, and it's really making me mad. And like, write your rage out onto the page and then try and figure out why you're not writing. And I can guarantee you that even if you haven't written something amazing by the end of that session, you will have got a little bit closer to writing the thing that you want to write, because half the battle is figuring out why you're not writing it. It's like, why are you resisting this?
What are you afraid of?
Yeah. What are you afraid of? What don't you know? There's a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, just start. Like, the power of just starting is incredible. And I know it sounds... Sorry, go on.
And we've spoken so many times in the past about the power of habits. You know, if you sit down at 9 o'clock every morning and write some bullet points and write the 250 words, then you will be writing.
Yeah.
It will become a thing that you do, and it becomes less of a struggle, and there's fewer blank pages to start from, and suddenly you have a thing that works.
Yeah. Do you know what? We're going to talk about the blank page as well at some point, because people fear it and they shouldn't. It's a gift. But we'll talk about that. But you just reminded me, I was gonna say right at the beginning, and now we're right at the end. Somerset Maugham, moderately famous writer, may have heard of him, said, I write only when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp. Because that's his job. It's like his literal job was to write. I think Stephen King has said similar stuff. Stephen Pressfield has said the same thing. It's like amateurs use it as an excuse. Professionals show up. They show up and they do the work, even if what they write is absolute bag of shit. And that's what I did today with my assignment that is due at the end of May. I've been putting it off all day because I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to say or how I wanted to say it. So in the end, I abandoned that piece of it because I didn't know what to say, and I started on another piece of it. I only wrote a couple of 100 words, but it's momentum. It's like I haven't stopped. I've written a piece of that every day this week because I need to finish it by Friday, because otherwise you'll be very angry.
I won't be very angry. I'll be
very
disappointed.
Not angry, I'm just disappointed.
We've put an artificial deadline in for Vicky to give me the shitty first draft.
It's really going to be very shit.
Well,
the first 500 words is really good.
Well, it doesn't matter. I need to see it in my hand.
Okay. Anyway, so, yes. If all else fails, because we've explained how it works, if all else fails, remember that if you want to write a book, you have to actually write it. There is no substitute for putting the work in, unless you pay a ghostwriter. But even then,
there's loads of work.
Because they can't just pull ideas out of your head. So, anyway, the reward for doing it as well is magnificent. Not only in terms of the fact that you will have your published book at the end, but like, you feel good when you've done a thing that you've been putting off. And
oh God, yeah, it's great.
Sometimes for me, it's like, it might be a thing that's been on the floor. I did that earlier today. It's been a thing that's been on the floor that's been bothering me for 2 weeks now. I picked it up. Felt so good. felt so good. I felt so proud. I was like, I have successfully adulted today.
I have picked that thing up.
So yes, Joe, what's the takeaway?
Takeaways. We're inspired by writing and noticing shit, and we are motivated by doing it.
Yeah. Is that the best you could come up with?
That's a strange sentence.
Well, it wasn't a proper sentence. It was supposed to prompt you to say something good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you often criticise me for, like, making stuff up when I read your takeaway word sentence.
I do not.
I totally do.
Come on. Try again.
I'm thrown. What's the takeaway?
Takeaway is don't wait for inspiration to strike, because you have to go out and stick your hand in the air and wait and give it something to hit. Do you like my lightning metaphor?
Yeah.
Anyway, and also don't wait to be motivated to start, because again, you'll never start. So
Yeah, just do it.
start. Just start, and you will feel motivated, because that is how this works.
Cool.
Next week, we're going to be talking about resistance
Okay.
and the Borg.
There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights! Oh my gosh, and if anyone gets that reference, please write in and tell me, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk, write in and tell me, and I will send you something.
Yeah.
If you get that reference, tell me who it is and where it's from. Don't Google it. Like, I mean, I won't be able to tell, but you'll know.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, you'll know. So yeah. But yes, if you get that reference, do you want to try again? Do you want to do it in character?
No.
Okay, cool. But you know what? Before we go, we're going to do something else that I do with my guests, and I haven't done it with you.
Oh,
so
God.
I know we're going to do rapid fire questions. Okay. So don't think about it, just answer. Okay. We've done what you're reading right now. So what is a favourite book of yours?
Swiss Family Robinson.
Really? Crikey. Never read it. And a favourite film?
Oh, gosh. Aliens. Trash. Trash 80s. Action
Aliens
movies.
is great. Aliens great. What's the last thing you binge watched?
All the Star Trek.
No, we're doing it right
We're
now.
doing Parks and Rec at the moment.
Parks and Rec. Okay, slight sidebar to say, oh my God, and everybody listening to this is going to be like, dude, it's been out for 7 years. I don't care. It takes me a while to get to things. I fucking love it.
Yeah, very
It's
good.
so funny. What's your favourite place?
Oh, I don't know. Anywhere rocky and windswept.
Cool. What are you thankful for right now?
Ooh. I'm thankful for sunshine and lush grass. Vicky's frantically pointing at herself, hoping that I'm going to mention her. I mean, I am thankful for you. But you asked me a question. You can't be upset at the answers.
I'm not really. What are you most proud of?
Oh, good Lord. God, I don't know.
Oh, come on, you must be proud of something. Proud of yourself for something.
I'm proud of the ridiculous things we do to the dingle. I'm proud of how much we've changed from people who didn't do any DIY and had no idea how to do stuff, turned into people who will happily take the front off their whole house.
Love that. Yes.
That's quite proudy.
What's on your bedside table?
A book and a lamp and an alarm clock, currently set to 4 a.m.
You need to make sure that does not go off. And where can we find out more about you?
You could listen to approximately 350 podcasts. 305 podcasts that have been released under this this series.
Yeah. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Tiny Beetle Steps, because I talk about Joe all the time and I record his many transgressions when he says things like, those trousers make you look like a chimney sweep. You should Dick Van Dyke it up a bit.
I resent
That's
this
the thing
whole
you said.
book of transgressions.
I should say they're not really transgressions. They're things that Joe has said. And you know what? I was talking about this earlier, and because one of my journaling prompts today was who makes you laugh, and you were one of the people that, like, plenty of people make me laugh a lot, but you were one of the people because. And the reason why is because you poke fun at all of my nonsense, but you do it in a way that makes me feel seen and heard and loved, and it just delights me. And so, like, little things like. When I got into bed a few weeks ago, you were like, you looked terrified. And I was like, what? Why is your face doing that? And you were like, because you just arrived like a rhinoceros with a thorn in its foot. And, things like, and you don't remember that at all, do you?
No.
It's because I wrote it down.
Okay.
And yeah, you're just funny.
Oh.
Just funny.
Thanks, love.
You make me laugh.
Oh.
You're also mean, but in a nice way. Okay, so coming up next week, we've done that, resistance. Talk about resistance next week. And in the meantime, if you would like to book a book breakthrough jam. I decided to call it jam instead of session because session is a boring word.
Okay.
We're going to jam.
And this gets you from, I think I've got an idea, maybe, perhaps, to
outline, and I know what I'm going to do first. And then again,
cracking
next.
on with the doings.
Yes, and people who have done it have loved it. You can ask them. In fact, you can have a look at the sales page on my website, which is moxiebooks.co.uk/book breakthrough. You can see the lovely things that people have said about working with me. They're also one of my favourite things to do. I really love it because it's just, you can make so much progress in 90 minutes. So yeah, go find out about that there. And if you've got any questions about it, email me, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk. If you want to build a writing habit, which Joe mentioned earlier, you can get my free writing prompt calendar from moxiebooks.co.uk/calendar.
That's a nice thing. Gets you to do something every day.
It does. It's totally free. Every now and then, one of the prompts will, at the end of it, have a little offer for you to go and buy some shit from me, whether it's my book or my templates or, maybe try out Team Moxie or something. But I feel like you don't have to. It's just there if you would like to. And yeah, if you like this podcast, please go and subscribe.
Subscribe, tell your friends, 5 stars, write us reviews.
Oh, yeah, please write us reviews. We love reviews.
We do like a nice review.
We'll read it out if you leave one. I should go and check. I haven't checked for a while if we've had any new ones. Or share it. Send people to moxiebooks.co.uk podcast.
Nice.
/podcast. Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
No worries.
It's been lovely talking to you again.
Oh, thanks, chicken.
Like I don't do that really. And thank you to Podfly for making this podcast sound always vaguely professional.
If you could unbungle some of that bungling, that'd be marvellous.
Yeah. Thank you to Harriet for basically stopping my life from exploding. And thank you to you, dear listener, for listening to us.
Which is basically your only job in this whole thing.
And thank you as well if you listen to this and then you go and do stuff and you write. That really makes me happy. And if you would like to write and tell me about the things that you're writing, I would love to hear it. I really would. I get super excited over people's book ideas. So cool. Please write. Yeah. Okay. Stay weird.
We're done.
Peace out.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find links and show notes on the website at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, where you can also sign up for the best daily emails in the multiverse and find loads of free resources to help you write your book. We'll be back the same time next week with more tales from the book writing trenches and the latest on what the tiny sheeps have been up to.